to be honest, don't really know what I'm doing.
He was often a player that I would buy on Football Manager.
It's already a terrible reason.
From Jon Snow, Matt puts Dan's wardrobe to shame.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Look at him, the cat that got the cream.
Ian Taylor said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in his life. Monk really is, I know he's Managerial. What kind of say is that?
Gary Monk, 5 out of 10.
I haven't finished yet. I cannot believe Gabriel Bonner-Horst.
That's crazy,
That's
isn't
terrible.
it?
Yeah, we may well have lost listeners early doors again with a long-winded intro. Go, shoot. Hello, welcome back to the Villa View with me, Dan Bardell, and this isn't Tom Julian sat next to me today. For those of you, I think it was August when Tom was away, or sometime earlier in the season. Can you remember?
I think it was pre-September.
Pre-September?
Just before we went on that run.
Okay, so you can tell by those tones, that's definitely not Tom Julian. He's pulled out last minute. I think some work's actually been dropped on him, so he's unable to do the podcast this week. So we've shifted it a day earlier and drafted in the best super sub since Big Marlon, Chris Dolan.
Which is pretty harsh, I thought.
No, Marlon's a legend around the podcast area, as you know. He's a legend on the Villa View podcast.
Better Marlon than Jordan Barry.
Jordan Barry, yeah, he wasn't the best
sub
in the world. It'd be nice for you to come and everything was a bit more positive, but once again, we've lost a game, and there seems to be a bit of negativity around.
I'm still pretty positive.
Yeah,
I've got to say, yeah. I mean, if somebody had said to me, defeat on Saturday against Peterborough,
yeah, and
you'll beat Forest at the weekend, I'd have taken it.
Oh,
it's just the manner of the defeat. You know, you can kind of accept it sometimes when one of these teams from the lower league come and they hit you on the counter attack, and it's a free goal. It's off somebody's knee, but they absolutely battered us. And I think it was more the manner of the defeat that's upset everybody.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
And you know, Bruce has sort of post match was sort of saying about throwing in too many youngsters, but that team was still on paper was pretty good to me, and should have had more than enough to beat Peterborough.
See, I said before the game that actually I ended up having a bad feeling about it. I was pretty confident going into it, but then as the Saturday came and the day wore on, I had a bad feeling because Peterborough, that was their first choice side pretty much. I believe, I mean, my knowledge of Peterborough isn't fantastic, but I believe that was their full strength side. So they've been playing together every week. Villa have put out a team. If you put a team out of players who've never really played together week in, week out, it's going to be a disjointed performance and you'll look all over the place defensively, which we did. So I think that's a factor. But I agree with you that I think that team that Bruce put out, that should have been good enough to hold their own. I mean, I think they've let Bruce down a little bit, the players.
Well, apart from possibly the likes of Jed Steer.
Jed Steer had an absolute blinder.
And every time he comes in, I mean, you talk about players that don't play. When was the last time Jed Steer played?
Probably the last time we had a cup game in September.
And how well did he play?
Yeah, he's a good understudy. I think he's as good at understudy as you could hope for.
Yeah, and as you've said
in
before,
the Championship,
you've alluded to the fact that if Johnson was to get snapped up, either now or in the summer, that you'd happily see Steer come in as a number one. And on that performance, you can't really argue because he was superb.
One thing I say is kicking isn't as consistent or good as Johnston, but he can be worked on that.
You can work on that. Yeah, that's stuff you can work on.
John Terry came back in and obviously looked a bit rusty. He's not played for 2 months, but the game served a purpose for him in that it was good to give him a run out away from the spotlight in the league.
I think with him and Green, it was just a fitness exercise.
Yeah, Green in particular.
But how does John Terry feel going in and getting battered by?
Oh, he was annoyed
by Peterborough.
He didn't look happy.
I mean, you know, that's got to hurt. That's got to be more of an embarrassment, really, for someone of his stature, getting schooled by a League One team. I
think Chelsea got knocked out either last season or the season before by someone that they shouldn't have done, so I think he played in that game, so he's probably accustomed to it now. And we, as Villa, I mean, wrongly or rightly, we're quite accustomed to being knocked out by lower league teams now. It's happened a lot since in the Paul Lambert era. Since Paul Lambert, I feel like and during, it's happened a lot.
I think yesterday was the 5-year anniversary of the Bradford.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a... Getting knocked out of that hurt
really
me.
Yeah,
but
our golden chance of silverware.
Yeah,
and we blew it.
Yeah, but Saturday, and I've took a lot of stick for this. I don't think I maybe explained myself as clearly as I could have done. I went to the game. I paid my money. Obviously, I've come from London. I want Villa to win every football match that they play in. Yeah. Obviously, I'm making an effort to go there. Whatever people think, I've made a big effort to get to that game. Paid for my ticket like everyone else, and paid for my fuel from London.
Yeah.
But when we got knocked out, I wasn't actually that disappointed because realistically, when I look back, we aren't going to win the FA Cup.
No.
There's no way
No.
we're going to win the FA Cup. If our first team came up against any half-decent Premier League side, I think we'd get beaten. I don't know whether you feel the same.
You just can never tell in cup
No,
games.
but I'd be surprised if we didn't.
Yeah, I think on the whole, we probably would have drawn a tougher draw in the next round and probably got put out. But it's just the manner of the defeat.
Yeah,
and,
I get
and
that.
like we spoke about, it just kind of like it just put a pin in the balloon of our positivity after Bristol.
But do you think,
It shouldn't.
do you think there's an
because-
overreaction?
Yeah, but that's football fans for you. That's just what we do.
Not just Villa fans, that's
That's
football fans.
I guarantee amongst ourselves, we kind of grumble amongst ourselves, and we grumble about the fans who and Bruce obviously has alluded to the fact that that we're only one game away from a crisis. But
Yeah.
if you talk to any football fans, if you scroll through other football fans' Twitter accounts and other football club Twitter accounts, you see some of the comments.
It's the same.
It's the same. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard fans wanting Klopp out, fans want Mourinho out. Pochettino went through a little bit of a bumpy phase.
Surely
there.
no one ever wanted him out there.
No, but there was a few Spurs fans that were grumbling, and it happens. And it's no one's given right to win every game of football. And I would just like to know what the Villa fans, those that complain, I'd just like to know what their expectations actually are to go the season unbeaten.
Well,
Or what's their view on that?
I can tell you that I've been, I don't know what you've seen, I've been absolutely pelted on Twitter for what I said. I mean, it got about 250 likes, 300 likes, so I'm presuming that there's people that agree with what I'm saying about not being too upset because I don't think we're ever going to win it. And I think we need to concentrate on the league and we don't need the distraction. But there's obviously FA Cup traditionalists that want to see you progress, want to see a good cup run. And some people, to be fair, pointed back to the fact that the best day we've had as a Villa fan recently would have been that Liverpool
FA Cup.
semi-final in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
And that's correct. But to me, it's a different time.
Yeah,
If
we're
in
not in the Premier League.
If we're in the Premier League, yes, have a good go at going for the cup. I think that's the right thing to do. And there's Premier League teams that don't have a go. So many weakened
Arsenal?
teams. Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Well, yeah, I can believe it with Arsenal, but
One cup that's kept his job.
Yeah, that's true.
And he blows it.
Well, I think he probably thought that team he's put out is good enough to beat Forest, and it wasn't.
No.
And obviously we'll go on to talk about Forest, but we're in the Championship now. For me, we took the League Cup not that seriously. I don't remember there being too many complaints, although the League Cup's not as prestigious as the FA Cup. But then on the flip side, the League Cup's the last thing that we've won in 1996. All those years ago, so I get the people are upset, and it is upsetting the way the FA Cup has been devalued, and perhaps now I'm guilty of devaluing it as well. I probably am guilty of that, but I just think when you're a Championship side, you've got so many games to come, so many midweek games and stuff. You don't need. I mean, like for example, if we'd have drawn, last thing we need is a replay. And now, to be honest, from the other side as well, Bruce has put the reserves in, and they've shown that they're not good enough to beat Peterborough. So if we're going to play a reserve side all the way through, in my mind, it's probably best we're out now.
Yeah. Well, you look at Lansbury's pass, which was beautiful into O'Hare at 1-0, and all he's got to do is dink it over the keeper. He scores that.
Yeah, it's a
then
good
we go and
save.
win it. But yeah, I mean, we didn't do enough, and what upset me was the stats, and it was they had 20 shots on our goal or 20 shots at our goal.
As someone who was there, I can tell you categorically there was no way we deserved to win that game.
So
Even
fair play to Peterborough. It is what it is. It happens, and I'm still on a high. I'm still very happy after Bristol. I'm still very confident. And with John Terry coming back, Andre Green coming back, players like Adoma, Chester, Snodgrass rested.
Yeah, they've had a rest, haven't they? Hourihane didn't have a rest. That was quite surprising.
He was the one player. Hourihane starting for me was the big surprise.
Do you think that made sense?
No, because he's been our key man in the midfield, I think, this season.
Because if you're resting all the others, I mean, I know he had a game off recently when he was on the bench. I think it was Brentford. I can't remember if he came on or not, but he definitely started on the bench. If you're resting everyone else, what do you think that says that he's not being rested?
You could be a bit of a, because you do need no matter what players play from your under 23s or from your reserves, you need one or two experienced players in there. So that could be a sign that Bruce sees him as the main man in the middle to
I think he should.
carry on.
I think he should.
Carry the likes of O'Hare and and Doyle hazed through the game. Not that he.
Well, yeah, I was
didn't
surprised. I
play,
thought we
but,
might see
yeah.
him.
But I would, if I was Connor, I'd probably be maybe take it as a form of flattery.
A compliment.
Yeah.
To me, he's the first name on the team sheet in midfield, central midfield. He's the first name on the team sheet.
By far, yeah.
He's the most consistent for me.
Especially if we have Jednak, gives him the licence to go forward.
Yeah, he played well against Bristol City, and I tweeted out as well that he's a lot of work he does goes unseen. His defensive game, if you look from 12 months ago, his defensive game, and he's had to be at times. His defensive game is so good now. We just need to find the balance of getting him forward because he will score goals if he's allowed the licence to come forward. But his defensive game's been brilliant.
One last thing, I mean, I don't want to dwell on Peterborough too much.
Oh no, we've got to talk about it because it's the only thing that's happened since the last podcast.
But that defending was dreadful. Just as a back four, I mean, it was awful, wasn't it?
I mean, the defending wasn't good all day.
What's Bree doing playing?
I can't not Bree, if I'm being honest. He shouldn't be playing there.
What's he doing playing there?
He shouldn't be playing centre-back. He's not a centre-back.
What's he going to learn?
I'd have thought Delat would have been the better option at centre-back, or play one of the kids next to Terra.
Likewise.
Elphick was on the bench as well. I mean, let me say, Delat and Taylor did not have good afternoons.
No.
Going forward or defensively, they both looked really uncomfortable, which was a shame.
Seems to have fallen down.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because he was our Mr. Consistent last year. Towards the end of last season, he was the first name in the team sheet for me.
Defensively, he's very, very good. I think at times we struggle a bit coming forward with him because he's not the best going forward. But defensively, I don't think you'll find a better fullback in the league, probably. But saying that, I don't think he's been as good as he was last season, and I can't put my finger on what it is, but I don't think he's been as good as he was in that second half of last season when he came in.
He hasn't.
And when Hutton plays left back, we seem to win for some reason. I don't know what that reason is, but we seem to do better with Hutton at left back. It's bizarre.
He just seems to keep on grinding out performances. When you think he's finished,
I wouldn't surprise me if he got a new contract.
He just
and it would be deserved.
You can't knock him.
And I was someone that was slating him.
We all did because he wasn't glamorous. He wasn't that sort of modern fullback that we all want to see. But you look at his run for Bjornsson's goal.
Yeah, the other week.
Maraud's forward and plays a beautiful ball through, and you can't knock him for that at all.
No, he's probably been in our top 3 players of the season. I was talking to Dan Rolinson.
Love the same score goal. Love the same score.
I'd be shocked if we ever saw that.
Imagine the applause he'd get? Can you imagine?
It would be more than applause. Applause is putting it politely. I think he's loved.
It would be brilliant.
He's loved by many in the whole 10. That's for sure. Just going back to the Peterborough game, the goals that we conceded and stuff, and just a general overview of the game. So we went 1-0 up. Keane and Davies scored, and we got off to a fairly decent start. Actually, they looked dangerous, but we looked reasonably dangerous for the first 15-20 as well. And then we, for whatever reason, and the Peterborough players have said this, Villa sat back and invited us onto them. We just couldn't get out of our own half. Every time Peterborough came forward, they looked like they'd score. Steer made 3 or 4 really good saves in the first half.
And second half as well.
Alone. Yeah. So then they missed more chances at the start of the second half. And then just as we started to get a foothold in the game, we just started to get a bit more confidence, looked like we might score. That Jack Marriott pops up with a header and makes it 1-1. We then think, let's make some changes. We don't. Bjarnason misses a sitter.
It's an absolute sitter,
from a set play. And then we let in a cheap goal from a set play. You 2-1 down, and then we decide to make changes. Get Hepburn, Murphy and Grealish. Does the lack of proactiveness worry you sometimes?
It does, and we've spoken about that. But then there's games where Bruce gets it right. I mean, against Leeds, he got it spot on. Bring on Lansbury and Grealish.
Yeah, they changed that game.
Bristol, he got it spot on.
Yeah,
it just all worked. But you get days where you try stuff and it comes off. You'll get days where you'll make a sub and it'll work. You'll get days where you'll not make a sub and you get criticised. You're sort of down if you do and you're down if you don't sometimes. So I think it's just how he felt on the day, and I think the lack of subs just showed you how he really felt towards the game. And
do you think he'll secretly be quite happy we're knocked out as well?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No, because unfortunately he doesn't seem to like the stick he's been getting and the negative press.
Well, no one likes getting stick. I can tell you, I don't like getting it.
No, and unfortunately he's, with every game that goes by and every defeat that comes our way, it's just another excuse for the Villa faithful to sit behind their keyboards and give him dogs abuse. And so no, I don't think he'd be secretly happy that we got put out now.
If it had been,
Especially at home as well.
yeah, that's true.
You made a very good point. I thought it's like,
Thanks.
well, probably your only good point.
Yeah, well, obviously.
You bring youngsters to that game on Saturday, and I think it was kids for a quid, wasn't it? Under 16 for a quid.
I haven't got a clue, but it was
And
cheap.
it's like, you bring your kids along to try and get them into Villa, and this is Villa Park, and look at our club and look at our team, and you sit through that. Are you going to want to come back? Is that really going to inspire the next crop of fans to walk through the turnstiles and pay their hard-earned cash? I don't think it is.
No, and that argument I can get.
And
People are complaining about that.
So important. Like, you have to think about the next crop, the young kids coming through, and you have to entertain. You have to, it's sport is entertainment. Unfortunately, now with the money, so it's such a vast pot of gold at the end of it that our focus is only on getting up. And our focus is on getting up so we can get money into the club. It's not about winning trophies, it's about making money for the club. It's a business.
But
that's what it is. It's a business.
We're not going to win that trophy, I don't think. Even if we played our best 11 every game in a cup run, we are not going to win the FA Cup.
What were the odds on Bristol City getting to the semi-final of the
That's
Carabao
true.
Cup?
That is true.
What were the odds?
I mean, the
on
league. Let's be fair though. The League Cup's taken even less seriously than the FA Cup.
is just as. Arsenal. Look at it. What team played their full strength?
Well, there is that, and it's also worth mentioning we weren't the only scalp. Arsenal have lost.
Yeah, they got battered
to a team in the league below them, and essentially that's what Villa have done.
Yeah.
If we put in what I think would be a more sensible head on, we've lost to a team that's in the league below us. Okay, we're Aston Villa. We're associated with being a Premier League side, but realistically,
we're not a Premier League side.
No. That's what I'm saying. Peterborough, one league below us.
Is the same as
people weren't that shocked by Forest beating Arsenal, really.
No.
Were they?
No.
Forest are one league below Arsenal.
No.
I suppose Forest were at home.
But we just have to realise, as a set of fans, like we're not a big club anymore.
Well, historically we are, but current day we're
just
not
not
good.
a big club, and we have to realise that, and we have to realise we are where we are for a reason. Mainly down to bad management. We were talking about a few points to bring up today, and you look at players. I'll get on to it sort of slightly about Vertu and Amavi.
Yeah,
they come to us. It all goes horribly wrong. They leave Villa, and all of a sudden they become these world-class players, or they become these kind of European-class players that they're talked about and talked up, and it's like, well, why didn't they do it for us?
Just the wrong time, I think. The wrong time. We brought them in at a time when we had no core, and we needed a core at that point, and we didn't have one.
Yeah, it's got this stage now where it's not enjoyable, really, at the minute, is it? It's very stressful. I find it very stressful. I said to Tom last week, I bumped it into Tom walking to work, and I said to Tom, it'll be nice to have a break from the Championship this week. It'll be nice just to relax.
Yeah,
I find it very stressful. I find it very intense.
But do you not always find? I felt stressed for 24 years.
Well, there was periods under O'Neill where you were confident going into every game, and then there was
Even
periods.
Then I was stressed.
Well, there was periods when we went down where I was just so numb to the fact that we were getting beat that I almost didn't. You just accepted it, and you accepted it. But now there's so much more. There's so much writing on it now that it's not enjoyable at the minute. It's really
but we
not
win
enjoyable.
more. From my point of view, we win more often than not. So I feel like I do enjoy it more because we tend to win games nowadays.
Yeah,
I think because we're used to misery. I think we just think everything's miserable when in fact it isn't. If we go back to the summer, if you'd have been offered January the 9th, Villa have been knocked out of both cups, but we're fifth, and we're 5 points off second, and they're catchable. Yeah, I think you'd have taken that. I think most people would do,
especially after Cardiff away.
I'm talking even pre-season. I would have taken that because the last season was such a disaster. We were nowhere near it.
No.
So to be offered to be there in January, and if you look at our fixtures, we've played most of the tough teams away. I actually think we're in a good position. I think there was a bit of I sound a bit like Steve Bruce, but I think it was a bit OTT, some of the reaction over Christmas. Okay, we lost a few games, but other people will lose a few games. That's what the Championship's like. And if you look at the fixtures we've got coming up...
Forest away.
Well, Forest has suddenly become a bit tougher.
I think. Karanka and then they win. They're
not ideal.
They're going to be buzzing. But,
What I will say is we were saying the same about Middlesbrough. And we went there and won.
Yeah.
So there's no reason why we can't go to Forest and win. He's not Karanka as well. He's not one of those managers that's going to come in and he's going to breathe life into them. He's a defensive manager.
He's quite a chilled out guy.
So he'll get them organised. They're not going to come out all guns blazing against us like they were under Gary Brazil on Saturday against Arsenal. And to be fair to Forest, they look like they had some really good young players. I'm not sure how often they played.
A player called Eric
yeah. I mean, like you say, people go elsewhere
and scores an absolute worldie.
I think he scored one for Villa, I believe, against Chelsea in 2012. I don't remember that. Yeah, he did. We lost 4-2. But yeah, there's some good players, ex-Villa players knocking around, isn't
Johnson,
there? Yeah,
Robinson.
Yeah, there's some good players. We'll talk about Veretout and Amavi because we're Stevens because we touched on it.
Yeah.
So Veretout actually has been getting rave reviews in Italy, and he's actually been voted in quite a well. I can't remember the publication's called, so it's not as well known to me, but it's quite a well known publication. It's one of the best signings there was in the summer in Italy. He's been performing well for Fiorentina. But he didn't want to play at Villa.
No.
He didn't want to stay.
No.
When he was there at the worst time in Aston Villa's history, and all those players weren't bad players. And if you actually look back at it, I'd say Amavi, Veretout, Ghana, Ayew. They weren't the problem that season.
No.
The problem was the people that Tim Sherwood actually wanted to bring in. Jolly and Lescott.
Richards, yeah.
Although I feel Richard gets a bit of a hard time. I'm sure he doesn't want to be injured all the time. But I agree he wasn't great in that season.
He wasn't.
Gusted was brought in by Sherwood, not great.
No.
Although he's gone to Middlesbrough and not really pulled up any trees either. So it's nice to be proved right about something.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, you've got to give Amavi a certain amount of credit for playing for us last season.
Yeah, I think he deserves big credit because he didn't have to.
No, he's certainly there's a really good player there, but he did have his fair share of howlers in him as well.
Oh, he had some real bad games.
I always found he always mistimed the ball. He always jumped under it.
He didn't have a great season. People going about him defensively. But actually, he wasn't great going forwards last season.
Bruce kind of played him,
and that's why Taylor was brought in.
Remember, I was at Rotherham away, and Bruce played him left wing.
Even then, he wasn't great going forward. So, and everyone always said, "Oh, he'd be good further forward." But to me, he wasn't. He just needed to move. I think people go elsewhere, and they do. Well, he'll go on to play for France.
Oh, of course,
full team. I'm sure he'll be a regular left back for France.
Of course, and in the future. Veretout.
Do you think Veretout? He's not been capped yet, I don't believe.
No. Well, he's the French midfielder. Oh,
mate, they've got everyone. Too many.
I just twigged on there.
Too many names. Too many names to list. They've got a guy called Pogba, who's not bad yet. They've got a pretty good, tidy midfield. Let's talk about the Forest game now. A few people have said to me about momentum and that we'll have lost momentum because of the cup run.
No,
the cup game.
Those players that played on
Saturday,
that's
what I thought.
Possibly won't. I mean, bar Hourihane, they won't be playing.
Shouldn't affect them. Do you think Terry will play?
Well, I said to you, and somebody actually tweeted us, does Elphick keep his place? I mean, Bruce is the kind of guy that likes to keep players in the team on merit, no matter who you are.
It's John Terry, though.
But it is John Terry, you know what I mean? And he's kind of like a player that we've never had before, a player of that calibre, with that CV that, he's on big money. You have to play him. You have to play him. For me, it's just kind of reassuring to know that Elphick's there, and Elphick's kind of
he might not be
slowly. Well, he's slowly becoming the player that we thought that we'd bought last season.
I think he'll be gone by the end of January.
I don't know. We can't afford to let him
go. I don't think we can, but I think we will. I think he'll want to go because he knows when Terry and Chester are fit, they're playing.
But did you see that reaction after the Bristol game?
I think that's just the kind of guy he is, though. He won't. I don't think he'll be here at the end of January because I think now he's had a few good games. There probably was question marks over him on the summer for buying sides. But now I don't think those question marks will be there after seeing the last few games he's had. Well,
he isn't going to go to Sunderland, is he? Because they were linked with him back in the summertime.
I thought that would be a brave move if he went there. It'd be very brave.
Well, in the state they're in now.
Middlesbrough maybe. Pulis, having a look at him.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I'd keep him.
What would you do? Would you keep Elphick in?
Yeah.
No, but would you keep him in the team on Saturday?
Yes.
You would? I think I would too.
Terry was just way off the pace.
But the only way
against the League One side.
I know, but the only way he's going to get back is by playing.
Can we afford? Can we afford to put him back in and for him to make a mistake? No, I'm not saying he'll make a mistake, but can we at this time? We need 3 points. We need wins.
No, I know. The annoying thing is, just before he got injured, he was really settled. He was the
Oh,
best player in the league, best defender in the league, certainly.
And we looked rock solid, and,
Yeah.
and we looked like a real force.
But do you think being Terry next to James Chester on Saturday is a different proposition
Oh, it
than
is.
Terry
Oh,
next to
of course,
James Bree? Even though
of
it's a League One side, I see what you're saying.
Of course it is, yeah.
Although I don't think Bree did much wrong. If I've got to be honest, he was.
I feel for Brie.
He went on an amazing run.
Yeah.
In the second half,
I feel for him.
He went through. I feel for him. He's a low
There's
move.
another great player in there.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I honestly can't say I've seen enough of him to be able to know whether he's that good or not. But he did put on a good show on Saturday going forwards from centre back once or twice.
Yeah.
It's difficult. So I think for this game, tough game now, Forest away. I think I'd keep
always
Elphick.
tough.
I think I'd keep Elphick in.
You just want to keep that balance.
2 clean
that pattern.
sheets.
Yeah.
I always think that the player that, if you've got the shirt and you've done nothing wrong,
And that's what Bruce
you
prides
should
himself on.
you should keep it. My worry is we're going to do something silly and go to 3 at the back or something stupid like that to accommodate everyone. And I hope to
think
God we
he's-
don't.
I think he's learned a lesson there.
Do you think?
I think he has, yeah.
So do you think he's going to drop Elphick then? Even though he said himself that it's going to be difficult to.
He shouldn't. I think he will. And I think it'll be the same team that played against Bristol, apart from Elphick. It's got to be.
See, I've been crying out.
And is Hogan going to be fit, though?
Should be. Believe he should be. So I've been crying out for Terry to be back. I mean, I've been asking about it every week on Villa Facebook Live. Is Terry coming back? Is Terry coming back? And now he's back. I think because of the last few games, I think he should start on the bench. And I wouldn't have thought I'd have said that a month or 2 ago.
Who knows? I mean, but as you said, you can't bench someone like John Terry in the Championship.
Can you not for one game when you think that we've got a winnable home game the week after? Maybe that's the more
Barnsley.
sensible one to put him in for.
That's a good shout. Maybe keep him out of the Forest game, keep him out of the firing line. Then maybe can he play in is there like a behind closed doors friendly or
I
something?
mean, I
like
think they
that?
can always organise games behind
And then start him against
closed
Barnsley.
doors. I mean, I was surprised he played 90 minutes the other day, actually.
Yeah. I mean, there was many surprises on Saturday.
Yeah, there really was too many. Many of them not of the good
No.
variety.
No.
So Forest now, to put your neck on the line. Are we gonna? I mean, you love a lavish prediction. To be fair, last time you were on here or last time you were on the phone, I think you predicted Villa to win the European Cup.
Clean
I think.
sweep in September.
Yeah.
I wasn't far off though.
No, you missed a couple. You got the first 2 wrong.
But there were draws. There weren't defeats.
No.
So
But the fact is, you weren't right.
Yeah. What do I think about Saturday? Who knows? I really don't know.
You know,
I don't know.
You had to put your neck on the line and make a prediction.
I can close my eyes and I can just see a massive gaff from somebody.
Probably Elphick now. We just bigged him up.
I think we'll win it 2-0.
2-0.
Yeah, and I think Hogan will score, and I think Grealish will score.
Well, let's face it, if we play like we did against Bristol City, that team
We can beat anyone.
will beat most teams. But what I will say is Bristol City really came at us, which doesn't happen very often.
Well, first 20
teams
minutes,
don't often come at Villa.
First 20 minutes of that game, we were looking a bit shaky, a bit poor, and then our stats on the night, we just had a really good conversion rate. Like
Yeah,
we didn't
really
have that.
did.
We didn't have that many shots. We had 6 or 7 on target, scored 5.
Yeah, clinical.
So we were getting chances and we were taking them. You can't ask for much more. So
No. Let's hope they've got the same boots.
I don't know much about Forest. I mean, I know they've had a bit of a strange season. I know Warburton was sort of was looking to get them into the top 6 with his record he had at
He's a good
Brentford.
manager, Warburton.
He
I'm
is
not
a
very
good
sure what's
manager.
happened there.
There's a player who plays for them called Brett
Brereton.
Is he on loan from Everton?
No, that's Dow.
Dow.
Kieran Dow.
Him, I like Dow and I like Brereton. Those two, for me, have stood out when I've watched Forest.
Brereton looks a very good player, actually. He scored against us last season, didn't he? Last minute.
Yeah, and he'd just come on. He'd literally broken into their like, into their squad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we'll have enough. I think we've got enough experience. I think we're streetwise. We've got more than enough quality, and and I think we'll still be on a high, because if you look at our last league game, we won 5-0, and like I say, a lot of those players, 95% of the players that played on Saturday will not feature on Saturday against Forest.
I've just got memories of that game last season of us.
Yeah,
You
we're
just
different-
knew
we're
it.
different-
I know.
we're
You
a
just knew it was
different
coming now.
We're a different team. We're a different squad. We've got a better mentality. We've got more confidence. Players like Adoma, they're like new signings for us. Him and Snodgrass have been lethal. I think Hogan's looks like he's coming back to a bit of form, although he hasn't just scored one goal, so we can't think all of a sudden he's going to go on a worldly run. But it's football and sport. It's about confidence, and I think our first 11 should have that in abundance.
That 11 against Bristol is a very good side. Very, very good.
On paper.
And it complements each other, and it showed.
Of course.
In that Bristol City game, it showed. That's a good combination.
What do you think?
What, score-wise?
Yeah, well, in general, like, what's your kind of prediction?
I probably, if I had to put my neck on the line, I'd probably say 1-1. A bit like the Leeds game.
Defence.
A bit like the Leeds game.
Yeah. Leeds are a far better side than Forest, though.
I know, but you just think Forest may have been lifted. That'd be... Like I said, they'll be compact. They're not going to come forward and have a real go at us, but that is sometimes what we struggle against. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
When teams sit back, we don't know what to do. But with Grealish there now...
that run for Snodgrass' goal. I mean, if that was Messi, if that was, as we always say, if that was anybody else in world football, that would have been all over Sky Sports.
I mean, they didn't even show the whole run on the highlights.
Yeah, I mean, he started literally almost from the corner flag.
He's an incredible player.
Unbelievable.
People don't realise how good he can be. I don't think. Maybe that's his fault because he's maybe not shown it every time he's played. But I think there's
as Bruce said, he's had 5-6 managers in the last 6 years.
Barely ever played number 10, except for that under Tim Sherwood.
Never played in his correct position. Sherwood played him in his correct position, and Sherwood was the only one that he kind of Instagrammed about whenever he left.
Yeah.
So obviously he got on very well with Tim Sherwood because Sherwood saw what potentially had.
He didn't look too upset when Remy Gard got the push.
Not many did. I think Bruce knows that there's a real player, and as you said, he's kind of really like beefed out and really
I think Bruce does know there's a real player there because if you look back to last season, he barely picked him. Second half of the season,
he was still. I don't know.
Do you think he was just trying to be too defensive?
I do, and I think Grealish is one of those luxury players, isn't he?
I think if you look at the Peterborough goal when he was on the pitch, third goal, he was the one who was furthest back. He ran the whole length of the pitch to try and defend. I think he actually works a lot harder than people give him credit for.
Yeah, but his overall game is that of a player that just kind of floats about and he picks out the nice pass.
I think you need players like that.
Exactly, but whenever Bruce came in, his remit was just to settle everything down, tighten everything up, and then build from the back. You don't build from the back with Jack Grealish. You build from the back with James Chester, Sam Johnson, and then you look. So I think now that he knows that we've got a settled back five, including Johnson, a really settled midfield. Well, that's not settled in the sense that does Glenn Whelan come back into the squad then, back into the team?
He shouldn't do on Saturday.
He shouldn't do because he's coming for a fair bit of criticism. He's the kind of player that does the stuff that never goes noticed, but the last two games against Derby and Brentford, he really had a shocker, didn't he?
I mean, let's be fair. I've been championing him before. I think he had a very good. I think it was November. He had a very good November. Got man of the match, or maybe it was October. A couple of times.
He was against Fulham as well. I was at that.
Just remember, the guy's 34 years old. He's played pretty much every game, which I don't think was ever expected because I think they were going to rotate him.
And Jedinak's been
with Jedinak, so he's ended up playing more than he should. He's probably blowing. He had a December to forget. I can't dress that up.
We all did, I think.
No, but he in particular had a December that he won't look back on with any fondness. No. But he'll come back in now and probably be a squad player rotating with Jedinak as long as Jedinak stays fit. So to me, he served a purpose for us that first half of the season.
Yeah, and to have someone like Glenn Whelan in your squad at this stage is a good thing. Is a positive thing.
Good in the dressing room, I imagine.
Exactly.
I know the players like him. The players definitely like him.
Yeah,
he's very popular at Bodymore.
All in all, Saturday. I mean, I'd like to know what the fans think in the comments.
I'm sure they'll let us know
below. Be interesting. I think we go there full of confidence. And I think we all just need to relax and not get.
Is that the message? That's your press conference.
Just relax.
Just relax,
and stop giving everyone else within the Villa community stick. I mean, what
why can't we all just get along?
Why can't we all just get along? Do you know what I mean? Like, peace and love.
Oh, that is your message.
Do you know what I mean?
And if you're watching via video, you'll know what I mean when I say that. Should we go? I did want to talk about Dr. Tony's tweet. What did you make of that tweet?
I didn't really understand it, to be honest.
I'll get it up now. Should have been prepared. I've had time to get this up.
It was a bit like he never puts full stops.
Oh, well,
it was all just one big long.
I think he's saying it's fine that Barry Fry made a mistake, but he's saying part of what Barry Fry is saying. I think he's saying we do need to improve, and step by step we are getting there. I think he's making. I think he's. Well, what I'm reading into it, and I don't know anything. I'm reading that Villa is not as far along as his other businesses.
No,
but
it's football.
One, it's football, which is very difficult. Two, I'd expect that because he's been in his other businesses for longer than he's been in Villa. So
2 years.
I don't think it was. A few people getting upset by this, saying he's lost interest. I mean, I was looking at some of the comments underneath.
But it's like every owner and every manager. You go into a football club and you have to give it the big I am. You have to give it like the big, Well,
he did that,
and he did that. And I think, I don't think anyone realised how difficult that league would be, more so than the fans. I mean, I knew it'd be tough. But I didn't know last season would be that tough.
No.
I mean, that was bleak. Last January, whenever we went on that run, I really feared for us. When I was texting you, going, I really fear for us, especially after the Ipswich game at home last February. Oof.
I never felt that we'd go down.
But defeats just breed defeat.
Oh, it was a bad time for sure.
Especially with our fans as well and the atmosphere. I mean, I walked out. I did the tour last year with the lovely Diane.
Yeah.
And I walked out onto the pitch, and I just sort of looked up and looked around and thought, wow, like huge.
Yeah.
Takes your breath away. Could you imagine playing in that environment with 40,000 people? Giving you all sorts of dogs.
Oh yeah, I can.
I mean, yes, football players get paid a lot of money, but at the end of the day, they're as human as everybody else.
Yeah.
And it must have been really difficult. So, as fans, we have to do our job. I mean, if the players don't, I also get it that we need to see a bit more of the pitch, but we have to get behind our team. Just have to. I mean, that's our job, or else what's the point?
Yeah, and I've got to say the atmosphere was dreadful.
Well,
on Saturday, even when we were 1-0 up, there was nothing.
What's the point? If you're not going to get behind your team, what's the point in even going along or even calling yourself a fan? I mean, we all get frustrated, but got to stick with it.
No, I think, and to be fair, you're generalising a bit there. There's a lot of Villa fans that don't do those things that you've said.
Of course.
Yeah. Let me say the pitch didn't look great on
Yeah.
Saturday. I'm not sure what's happened there.
I think it's just the weather wear and tear.
Yeah, to be fair, the weather has been worse this winter than it's ever been.
And the snow
isn't
going to do it any favours at all. At least it's got a week off now to recuperate.
That's true. One piece of a strange rumour, I would say, that's been going around today is that Brighton...
A bit of a ding-dong.
Yeah. Brighton are preparing a £3 million offer for Keane and Davies, which, quite frankly, I cannot possibly see being true. And I said as much on social media, on Twitter, and the journalist that wrote the story, Duncan Wright, actually replied to me. So he said it was an exclusive. Brighton preparing bid for Aston Villa talent Keane and Davies, to which I put exclusively wrong, which when I look back at it was probably a bit childish. But I didn't think he'd ever acknowledge it. But fair play to him, he did come back to me and he says, can take a tap from people all day long, Dan. And I'm pretty sure Villa aren't in the selling mood, but you're supposed to be a journalist presenter on all things Villa. How do you know whether Brighton fancy him or not? Which is fair. I do not know that for fact, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't know for fact either. So I said, that's fair. I don't know. But number one, he just signed a new deal. Number two, £3 million would be an insult and Brighton would know this. Number three, they need goals. He's not a goal scorer. To which he said, can only go with what I've been told, Brighton end. Signing a new deal is only good so long as no offer comes in. Reckon they'd have to go a lot higher, but ultimately every player has a price. They've been linked with Dembele, aren't they, from Celtic?
Which is bizarre when he was linked with Chelsea.
But he's more of the player I'd expect them to be buying because he's
proven like
he's a bit pacey. He's what what Brighton are actually missing. Brighton surely if they need a goal scorer aren't going to come for Keane and Davies.
It's just
and they're not going to do it for £3 million.
It's just nonsense paper talk, isn't it?
I mean, I haven't replied to his last tweet, but what I am going to say to him is that we see so much rubbish from red top papers nowadays that anything that comes out it doesn't seem believable. But this in particular doesn't seem believable to me.
But anybody can start a rumour. It's a click. Well, it's at the click of a tweet now, isn't it? So.
I mean, Deck Kingsley AVFC said underneath £3 million for Davies. The fact is, English means the bidding starts at $20 million. I mean, I'd be shocked if we got $20 million for him. But what you said, I mean, this is a player as well that's been linked with Man U, Arsenal, Chelsea not that long ago. They'd have certainly had to have paid more than $3 million, and that was before he signed a new contract. He was being linked with all those clubs.
Yeah, well, let's just see what he does. He hasn't done enough yet to warrant a move.
I think he's done what we could have expected from him. If I'm being honest,
for us,
he's not a regular goal scorer, but he's not ready for Premier
Mm.
League. I wouldn't have
Still
thought.
very, very raw.
Should we get the questions? Should we do the questions?
Some crackers, like. I have to say.
Yeah, we have had some good ones, mainly provoked by your presence. I will say. Let's go with the first one.
What was that?
Bud.
Oh yeah.
I mean, for those of you not watching via YouTube, and those of you that are watching via YouTube, Chris is very incognito. He doesn't like to make a show, as you can tell by the way he dresses
He's talking about?
and his hair. But Bud Music's in a picture and says, in view of such a worldie of a haircut, does it feel good to have a worldie haircut?
It's nice to get a bit of love.
I don't think that's ever been levelled at me on the podcast. And it's definitely not been levelled at Tom, having a worldie of a haircut. Who do we feel had the best Villa Barnet of all time and in the current side?
Well, I think Bran Little, without a doubt. I think it was like 75, 76.
Quite similar to this dude you've got going on
longer
here.
than mine, like, but I mean, what a haircut.
Why don't you try and have it a bit more like that?
I've had it, yeah, but
Have you?
I'm 31, mate, you mean?
It doesn't matter.
No, it does. It does.
Brian Little's in
Days.
his 60s, I presume, and I bet he'd like to have that haircut back.
Yeah, you start looking a little bit daft.
No, okay.
Not that I don't look daft already, but you start to look
I don't think you look
even
daft. I
more
think
silly.
you're very unique and
the-
shouldn't take anything to heart.
The current crop, it's got to be Jackie
I like what you
Grealish.
did there, crop. Nice.
Current crop.
No,
Oh yeah.
you didn't.
yeah.
Oh, did you? No, you didn't
know
mean it.
that at all,
Oh, I
no.
thought you did.
No. It's got to be Grealish, isn't it? Really? Because
He's
the rest
Grealish.
the rest of them have.
Well, I
have
used to have a
Grealish.
bit of a Grealish
Yeah.
going on about a year ago. That's gone now. I've
You have
changed
to
it to this
tone it
bit
right
subtle,
down.
bit
Yeah.
more subtle.
Well, that's it, mate.
That is.
A bit more subtle.
That is not subtle. I quite like Lansbury's new shaved head look.
Yeah.
I think he looks quite good, but he's
Yeah.
a handsome man. Lansbury, the wife,
Well, anything's
quite
better
likes Lansbury.
Anything's better than his cornrows that he was having.
Oh, his cornrows.
It's just not on, is it?
Don't do
like?
that again.
Not
They
on.
were absolutely
No.
awful. But the wife does quite like Lansbury. She's not commented on his new hair, actually. But I'm going to go best Barnet. I'm going to go for of all
Back in
time.
the day.
I'm going to go for Ginola.
Oh yeah, stunning.
Those locks, you
Beautiful.
cannot. Was it Head and Shoulders?
Oh, yeah.
Was it L'Oreal?
No, Head and Shoulders, I think.
I think it's L'Oreal.
Was it L'Oreal?
I think it might have been L'Oreal. Let us know in the comments if you know which shampoo brand. I think Joe Hart's Head and Shoulders, isn't it?
It was him and McAteer were the two.
McAteer's Head and Shoulders. Oh, of L'Oreal.
No, I think McAteer was Head and Shoulders,
I think it's L'Oreal
and then maybe
because I'm worth it.
Yeah,
That's Ginola.
McAteer was definitely Head and Shoulders because they were the same.
Ginola
time.
was L'Oreal because I'm
Was
worth
it?
it.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm going to go with him. You can't knock those looks. And he was keeping on the family theme of people liking football. My mum used to very much like.
Yeah,
David Ginola.
Every mum likes.
I met David Ginola once. Went to his book
Yeah.
signing in Sutton Coldfield,
Oh, yeah.
and I was in a queue to get my book signed, and then the person before me turned up with loads of gifts and stuff for him. So like she was giving him all these presents, and he was.
Shampoo and stuff.
Well, I can't remember if it was shampoo. I think he probably had enough of that, but he was loving it. This woman turned up with loads of gifts for him, giving him all this stuff, get us her book signed, and I rock up next to nothing. I don't have anything. I just wanted the book to be signed. So that's my little David Ginola. I think I've said his name about 4 different ways as well since we've been doing
Well, I haven't
this
any,
podcast.
any stories about
No,
him. So, no.
never met him. To be fair, that's shocking that I've met a celebrity that you haven't met. I find that very difficult
Well,
to believe.
there's some other good ones on here.
Yeah, I'm just going through it now. Villa Mad, Ross McCormack, scoring for fun in the A-League. Should we recall him?
Nope.
No?
Nah, well, no. His attitude stinks
That's true.
by all accounts, and he's under absolutely. He's got no pressure over there anyway.
I mean, it's a
It's a doddle over there, like, you know. I
got some hate for saying that, Chris, but you got to be careful with what you say, because this will always be there for people to look back
No,
on.
it's true. No, I don't think so, and that's my answer in a nutshell.
I don't think I think his and Bruce's relationship's probably irreparable at this
After what
stage. But do you not think if we're looking to get a striker in, I think it's no secret that we're looking to get a striker in, although I don't think we need one.
I'd rather
People
start-
are arguing,
No,
well, we've
I'd-
got a £12 million striker there,
Well,
whose value is on the
is he
decline.
£12 million?
Well, it cost us 12 million.
I'd rather start Hepper Murphy myself.
Yeah.
He's showing real glimpses of
I think
quality,
that's what I said. I don't
His
think we actually
pace.
need. I don't think we need a striker at all.
Well, we could do with maybe someone slightly experienced just to help along the other lads, because you can't rely on Adoma, and you certainly can't rely on Hogan, because we don't know how fit he's going to be, and then Davis doesn't score that many, and then you got Murphy. So
Gabby,
come on,
Blues game's coming up. You know he'll be back,
Behave yourself.
primed, ready to get back from the loft
behave yourself.
for that game for sure. Moving through some more. Matt Rudd, Tishy Bowler. Can you say any way back for him? Loan out again. I'll let him try and find some form in the under-23s. Well, he scored for the under-23s. You
problem,
think
yeah,
attitude
I
again?
think so, yeah. You know what MK Dons and and get sent back. You know, if something wasn't going right. And by all accounts, he had one good game for them. And then apart from that, he apparently just had a stinker week in, week out. I think he's a good player. I think he's got something there, but I think he's just a little bit. He's part of that crop that doesn't know what proper hard work is. I think he thinks he's made it, and I think he thinks he's like, you know, he's got the big paycheck and the nice car and the Louboutin shoes, and I think that's him. I think he's pretty much.
You want to see more hard work?
I want to see a bit more graft. Yeah.
Well, he's going to have to graft, I think, if he wants to make it at Villa. But he's on a pretty big contract. He's got a few years left on that contract.
Yeah,
but if he wants to make it Villa, he'll have to work hard because he's way down the pecking order at the moment. Wayne Homer, with fans yet again split over Bruce after Saturday's result. I don't think that's ever going to change. No. What side would you put out for the game without the benefit of hindsight?
I was actually surprised at how strong the side was. I would have gone younger.
I was too.
I would have gone younger. I would have put in Doyle Hayes. I would have put in Murphy. I would have started Suleiman.
Yeah,
at the back. And I would have had a lot more of the youth in there, alongside Green and Terry. So I was surprised at how strong.
For starters, I wouldn't have risked Hourihane.
No,
that wouldn't have been something that I'd have done, and I wouldn't have played O'Hare right midfield either because that does not suit him. Although he made a good fist of it and had a decent game, probably one of our better outfielders. To me, he, like Grealish, has to play 10.
Yeah.
When he plays, quite a lot Wayne. He always asks good questions. I don't know, but I can imagine sitting around the pub with Wayne. He follows you. You should follow him back, Chris. You're going to have to now because I've just called you out. It looks like I'd like to go for a drink with Wayne.
Yeah.
Talk about football. Looks like a coach. Looks like a coach as well.
He's got a hashtag Ask the Coach. So
he always makes valid points on Twitter. I think. Kieran Hand, top 3 contenders for the Aston Villa goal of the season so far
on the way in.
Well, we didn't because I said I wasn't going to tell you.
We were going to, and then you shut me off.
Yeah, because I wanted it to be a surprise now, a genuine surprise. You picked 3?
Yeah.
Have you? Gone in? Shoot. Mine's in no order, by the way. I haven't thought about which one's the best. Order. All gone in. Start with number 3.
Number 3 is Adoma against Burton. Purely because the build-up was sensational.
Fair.
The finish wasn't great, but the build-up was.
Finish was weird. I'm still not really sure I know what happened.
He sort of scuffed it.
Yeah.
And the keeper went the wrong. But the build-up was just.
Okay, Brad Knott, forget that not.
And closely followed behind that fourth. I'll just go for it. Was the fourth in that game where Chester spun round, played it to Snodgrass to Hogan.
Oh yeah.
Skipped through.
Oh, you've really done your research.
Over to Onuma, and then boom. That was a real.
Or you've just watched the Burton game
while you were getting the memory card. And then Hourihane's free kick against Forest.
Hang on, you've got one more left, haven't you? Because you said the other one was 4th, didn't you? You missed
Fourth,
one.
And then 3rd was the Adoma goal.
So next,
2nd, is the Hourihane free kick against Forest.
What's 1st?
Andre Green.
Andre Green.
Yeah. Against Norwich.
We've gone for fairly.
What a stunner that was.
Fairly the same.
Just the way he dragged it across.
Yeah, it was a good goal. A shame that he got injured so soon after he did, but it's good to see him back.
Yeah.
On Saturday, I've gone.
If you're watching Andre,
I don't think he watches.
Top goal. Man.
Top goal. I've gone for Snodgrass's goal, the 3rd against Bristol City, just because of Grealish's run.
Oh yeah,
and I thought it was a really good touch and finish.
Inside,
it's a very clever finish. I've gone for that one. I went for Hourihane. Again,
just the importance of it,
Forest as well, the free kick, and I'd say Greens as well was the top goal of the season.
Yeah, and again, with whatever everyone else thinks, it'd be great to see what everyone else's top 3 are.
Wayne Homer asked about John Terry as well. Mr. Aston Villa, Villa first. He says, do loan signings get a rough ride when things don't go well? All of a sudden, I see Honor is useless, send him back, etc. On the other hand, I wonder if Tish had a bad run and got treated poorly. Looked decent in the under-23s. Yes, that's good to see that he was looking decent and put the effort in the under-23s. I kind of agree with what he's saying there because I don't think Honor was useless.
No,
he's been a very important, not very important, he's been an important player to the squad.
Scored 3 goals
this season. I mean, he loves a deflection. I think all his goals have been deflections except for one.
It's
difficult.
Don't really know where he plays.
Well, I don't think we're playing him in the right position.
Is he number 10? Is he a centre mid? What's his best position?
So I was at the QPR away game and he played 10 and he was awesome.
See, I was at the Fulham game at home and he played. Did he play a number 10 there? He's brilliant. He was brilliant anyway.
He's a good player, Anima. I don't know why.
He's got a great engine on him.
This is one of the problems with Villa fans and maybe football fans in general. People are either really bad or amazing.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any in between. I think Onima's done decent, done as much as we could have expected.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll be honest and say I didn't know who he was. I hadn't heard of him when he came in.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Luke Redding here. As we don't need to buy many, if any, players this window, do you think attention should turn to extending contracts of current players? I'll tell you what, we'll answer that next week because I would need to do some research on
I don't know who's
when contracts expire. I think Grealish will probably only have 2 years left after this season, so we probably want to have a look at that off the top of my head. Also, what was yours and Chris's favourite goal of 2017? So we've done the top 3 for the season. My favourite goal was actually last season. In terms of quality of goal, I've gone for Grealish away at Fulham and the atmosphere when that went in. We were playing with 10 men. It was just such a good goal, I thought.
Do you know what I've gone for? It's
on.
actually Grealish against Wigan.
That was 2016, Chris. You've got to listen to the question. It's like having Tom Julian back in the room.
It's like being back at school.
You've been so solid.
I don't know.
It's definitely like having Tom Julian in the room now.
I like Codger's goal against Wednesday when he dragged it in.
Is that at home?
At home, yeah. Won that 2-0.
Was that when Hogan played a nice through ball and he made the top corner finish?
I loved his finish against Burton outside of the boot. That was a stunner.
Yeah.
That was a lovely goal.
We miss him, don't we?
Oh.
We'd like to get him back.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen.
No.
I mean, it's a good question. Tatler, and we do have a couple of Wolves fans actually that listen here. So we've got Tatler here saying, not Villa related, but general football related question. I'd like to know your opinion on how Wolves have gone about their business utilising their close relationship with George Mendes. Can you see more teams utilising super agents like this in the future? I think what they're doing is very close to the bone, but they're getting away with it because it's not illegal.
Somebody raised the point on Twitter as well. I think it was in this conversation about the fact that they know they're going up.
Well, they do now.
So they can afford to put bids in of 35-40 million pounds and not be hit with the FFP because they can afford it and they can justify it because they're going up.
Also, they've loaned a lot of people with views to a permanent, so a lot of their good players they haven't actually paid a fee for.
It's a bit like your man who plays for PSG.
I forgot his name. Mbappe. Yeah, so he's a loan because they don't want to get hit by financial fair play.
With a view to purchase.
Yeah.
Listen, fair play to Wolves. Absolute credit where credit's due. They've been unbelievable and they've absolutely ripped that league apart. And he's been brilliant. He's been a breath of fresh air, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So
I'm worried about you. Oh God, I thought you were going to. I'm just watching Chris navigate the computer screen here. I was really worried that he was going to press the cross button, which would have been an absolute disaster at the end of the podcast. Going to end on a happier question, and I've lost it now. Kieran Conrad Powell. He's asked, "What's the most disappointed, most happy you've been as a Villa fan, excluding relegations, cup wins, losses?" So I'm going to just focus on the happy and end on a high note. What's the happiest you've been as a Villa fan, excluding cup wins? You're going to say the semi-final, aren't you?
No.
Not the Liverpool semi-final?
No.
It's probably the happiest I've been.
In recent time, yeah, but probably that run under O'Neill when we won like 7 games in a row away from home.
Yeah.
Went to Blackburn and beat them like 4-2 and it was just so, kind of felt proud. Not that I'm not proud already, but like used to kind of had a real sense of like, yeah, Villa, we looked like a real team, a real threat. But as always, we kind of blew it in the end.
That doesn't sound like Villa.
96 was pretty amazing. I remember watching that in my front room. 2000, actually did the semi against Bolton was pretty amazing. The penalties. Do you know what it is?
Yeah.
Phil King against Inter Milan.
I think I've told a bad story about Phil King on here before. I can't remember if I've told it or not, but I've met him. He was not very nice to us, me and my mates. No. He was with Dean Saunders and Neil Lamptey.
Oof, that would
and we saw them over the road. Me and my mates went over to get the football signed. Dean Saunders.
Back in the day,
yeah. Dean Saunders signed it. Neil Lamptey was very friendly, signed the ball, signed autographs. And Phil King just looked at us and went, "No autographs today, lads."
Was that just after he scored that goal?
Yeah, and I thought,
well,
I mean, I was only young, so I probably didn't think that. I was probably just amazed to have met Dean Saunders and Neil Lamptey, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I look back on that and think that's bizarre.
Yeah.
Especially when your mates are signing autographs.
Yeah, strange. But that penalty was just like, wow. wow. I mean, what a game that
I
was.
remember it.
Yeah, I mean,
I was on my milk crate probably.
Keegan's commentary as well. You know, there's unbiased commentary. Yeah, you beauty.
That was it. The Europe, even not UEFA Cup was taken really seriously then, wasn't it?
Great
So you
times.
couldn't play
Great
Irish
days.
players, could you? Back then, you could only play 3 foreigners, and Irish
Yeah,
players
that's right,
counted as.
that's
So we had like,
That's
that's probably why
right,
Phil
yeah,
King was
yeah.
playing actually.
Yeah.
Really weird. I'm just trying to think what my.
What's yours? Because we all know the semi against.
Yeah,
something
he's
special.
right. He said he specifically asked not to include Cup as well. Probably say that. You remember that start of the season when we were top of the league under John Gregory?
Oh yeah.
I'd probably say that because I was at school.
Paul Merson came
Big
in.
Villa fan. Paul Merson
Magic
came
Man
in.
came in.
We had a really good English core. It was pretty much everyone was English except for Bosnich
yeah.
in goal, and then Bosnich got injured, and that was probably what cost us actually.
Yeah.
In the end, it was just a really good team with players that I look back on with real fondness. Southgate, Ekiog, Barry,
quality.
Taylor, Hendry. It was just
Gary
a really
Charles.
good. Gary Charles, I don't think I look back on him with particular fondness. He used to be a guy who sat next to me who used to just spend the whole game laying into Gary Charles. And when he scored, he was like this because he was so embarrassed.
He was quality, Gary Charles.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I don't remember him being that great.
His debut against Wimbledon. Tommy Johnson. He was just bombing forward.
I remember him setting up some goals in that game because that was on Villa's social media the day.
Yeah.
I think that was probably my happiest memory. I had quite a proud moment on Saturday, actually. Quite self-indulgent, this, but I'll tell the story because I think it's quite a happy story and a nice story about family and Villa. So obviously I do my Facebook stuff.
Do you?
Yeah, with Ian Taylor. I took my dad along with me to meet Ian Taylor because Ian Taylor's one of my dad's favourite players as well. So I took my dad along to meet him, and it was just a nice thing to be able to do to enable my dad to meet one of his heroes, as it's my dad who got me into Villa, and he's the reason I'm a Villa fan and why I'm so obsessed with it today. So I just thought that was just a nice moment for him to meet his hero, my hero.
But it's all good. I mean, you know, I've met you through Villa. I've met my good friend Kieran through Aston Villa. Got to know some of the players. I'm doing this. It's all great.
There is a lot of positives, isn't there?
all
As
great.
Villa fans, I think we dwell on the negatives quite a lot, but there is a lot of
good.
positives.
It's all good.
And really, there is more important things going on in the world
there
than
is.
football in general.
Deep down, you know, I think we all quite like the fact that whenever we go into a bar or meet somebody and we tell them that we're a Villa fan,
It's proud.
They all go, really? So, you know, you're kind of like a one-off.
You're definitely a one-off, and hopefully you being on the podcast isn't a one-off. Another good performance from you.
Thanks, mate.
I'd say, Philly, especially at such late notice. It's worth knowing that Tom didn't really drop this on us.
Well, I was having
until the last
off for
minute.
a few days. I was having a snooze.
Good job.
And you text me.
You soon woke up when you knew you were going to be on the Villa View. So thank you very much for coming and joining me, because it would have been pretty boring on my own, if I'm being honest, and I don't think anyone would have listened to it, quite frankly. But yeah, thank you for sticking with us and listening to the Villa View podcast. If you could pop a review on iTunes, that would be absolutely fantastic if you listen via that medium, and comment below with your thoughts on some of the subjects that we've discussed. I realise the FA Cup is going to be quite a touchy subject, but do let us know your thoughts in the comments. Obviously everyone has different opinions. That's what makes football so great and why we all love the game so much. There'll be a match preview coming up for Forest in the next few days. We may do a match reaction video as well afterwards if we can. Apologies there was no fan cams on Saturday, but I was there, but I didn't have a cameraman available, so I couldn't do both, so there was no cameraman available on Saturday. But it's probably best that we didn't do one in the end, because we don't want to dwell on it. Thanks very much for watching and listening. Stick with the channel, stick with the Villa, up the Villa. Ooh, bit of a kick of the equipment at the end. If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.